So the word economy is of Greek provenance, right? Oikonomia, from which we also derive the term economics as the study of the economy. It originally means household management, or in Arabic, tadbir al-manzil, or the management of the family homestead, habitation, or settlement. Thus, economics is seen as distinct from ethics, which is really about the management of the self, or ilm al-akhlaq, tadbir al-shakhs, or tadbir al-nafs, and politics, which is the management of the city, or siyasa, or tadbir al-madina. But in practice, these three fields of study overlap greatly. So at each level, we're talking about the primary concern being, how do we manage this thing? First and foremost, how do we manage ourselves, right? And so ethics, or ethos, really is the science of morals. And everything else that follows is simply an application of this science of morals, right, at ever larger scales. I often like to think of this as like a fractal, right? A fractal is just a pattern that repeats, right, regardless of the size and the scale. It's the same thing, right? So this is really like a type of ethical fractal, right, applied at these different scales. Together, these three fields of traditional philosophical inquiry, ethics, economics, and politics, constitute practical wisdom, or hikmat amaliyah. Their formal distinctions notwithstanding, they have overlapping moral concerns due to the fact that they are all concerned about the question of virtuous ethical comportment in relation to oneself and to others in the context of communal and societal life. So in household management or stewardship, the overriding concern of the head or steward of the household is the prudent, judicious management or stewardship of the resources, income, and expenditure of the household, so as to provide for the needs of all its members and dependents, humans and non-humans. In a typical household, or rather homestead or settlement, relatively more resources are allocated and devoted to the care and provision of the needs of the disabled and the weak, babies, children, the elderly, those with handicaps, et cetera, et cetera. While the less dependent and hence more independent members, the grown-ups and the able-bodied, are pretty much left to their own devices to fend for themselves and are expected to contribute their share of work or labor towards ensuring the overall livelihood and general well-being of the household. Now, the village, the city, or the country as a whole can be seen as an extended household in which the steward or caretaker, called the local, municipal, or national government or authority, is likewise expected to show similar care and concern for the weak. So, for example, the poor and the disadvantaged of the population, and to secure the common good, or the maslaha. Therefore, we have the economy extending from the level of the family, right, tadbir al-manzil, or the management of the settlement, to the level of the city or community, right, tadbir al-Madina, or the management of the city, community, or society, and even to the stewardship of the whole earth, right? The whole inhabited world, or oikonomeni in the Greek, as the macro household, right? The khilafat al-ard, right? The stewardship of the earth. Again, same pattern, right? You're applying the same ethics at different scales. From this deep social and ecological perspective, the formal sciences of economics and ecology, and moreover, since etymologically the two words share the same root, are essentially one science and one discipline, not two segregated fields of inquiry, forever at loggerheads with one another, such as we find today in the modern academia and in much of public policy. So again, if let's go back and again look at the point that he just made, that economics and ecology are related because they have linguistic roots etymologically. Ecology is the study of the household. Economy is, again, the management of the household. So in reality, you cannot have an economy that is divorced from ecology. And if you have an economy that's divorced from ecology, it is doesn't make any sense. It isn't legitimate because it fails to recognize the reality of both of these phenomena. They are intimately, essentially linked. Therefore, there's no trade-off between economy and ecology, but rather economy must conform to ecology, and the science of ecology should be the basis and framework for the science of economy. And herein lies why the modern understanding of economics cannot be assumed to be legitimate, especially if you want to talk about this from the standpoint of Islam or an Islamic framework. It just simply doesn't make any sense.